In the Saturn myth, author David Talbot hypothesises that Saturn, the primeval sun, first shed its light from the circle of the created Earth. He suggests that this logic will explain why the celestial land often appears as a great wheel revolving around the stationary sun. Wait to hear this. It may be called, alternately, the world wheel, the world mill, or chariot. And this turning wheel of the Holy Land is consistently represented by these symbols. Coincidence? You be the judge. Hindu descriptions of the cosmic wheel affirm that the ancient sun stands at the centre as the chakravartin or wheel turner. From the stationary pivot of the wheel, the universal monarch directs the movement without participating in it himself. On the Buddhist iconography of the world wheel, Kumaraswamy writes, "He whose seat is on the lotiform nave or navel of the wheel, and himself unmoving, sets and keeps it spinning, is the ruler of the world. Of all that is natured and extended in the middle region between the essential nave and the natural felly." The organised world lies within the ever-turning rim. The Buddhists regard this sacred domain as both an ancestral paradise and the situation of the goal, that being heaven to be reached by the deceased. And Buddhist myths do say that a plot of land congealed out of the cosmic waters to form a band around the Great Phara, becoming the golden wheel. The surface of these waters, just as in the Brahmahamical cosmology and in Genesis, is stirred by the dawn wind of creation. The foam of the waters solidifies to form the golden circle, known as the Kankana Mandala, or the land of gold. Kankana Bune, the same as Sun Sang's golden wheel, and representing the foundations of the earth. The surface of the land of gold is the round of the world. That the world wheel stood at the stationary pole is confirmed by the Buddhist account of the primeval wheel king, owner of a wheel whose steadfastness was a measure of his fitness to rule. And he was a universal king, a righteous king ruling in righteousness, lord of the 4 quarters of the earth. And these 4 quarters were the 4 divisions of the wheel. The myths state not only that the revolving wheel remained in the stationary position, but that a fall from its fixed place would mean the death of the ruler. If the celestial wheel of a wheel-turning king shall sink down, shall slip down from its place, the king has not much time to live. And that is exactly what happened, of course. The wheel fell, the universal monarch died, and the world was thrown into confusion. We are reminded of the Zoroastrian world wheel called the sphere. This ever-turning wheel was the body of Zurvan, or time, the planet Saturn. Throughout the primordial epoch, the wheel of sphere remained in one spot, and its fall coincided with the collapse of the prosperous age. In many myths, Saturn's earth wheel acquires the poetic form of an enormous mill, churning out abundance. An old Icelandic tradition, for example, knew the mill as the fabulous possession of Amlodhir Frode, and under whose rule mankind enjoyed peace and prosperity. Recruited by Frode to work the mill were 2 giant maidens, who day and night turned the massive wheel, grinding out gold and happiness. But like all fabled wheels, Frode's mill eventually broke down, causing the death of the great monarch, as shown by the author de Santillana. Frode was the planet Saturn. The author, whose work is titled Hamlet's Mill, review widespread traditions of the cosmic mill. From Iceland to Finland, to India to Greece, we are finding many unexpected connections with the same remote planet. Not once, however, do the 2 writers wonder whether the tradition of the Saturnian wheel may have originated in the actual observation of a band around a planet. As the possession of the universal monarch, the mill lies in the farthest north and is regularly identified with the pole or the axis of the world. The Finnish Kalevala locates the mill, here called the Sample, on a great rock in the North Farm, the polar garden of plenty. The hero Ilmarinen forged the Sample skillfully, on one side a grain mill, on the second side a salt mill, and on the third side a gold mill. Then the Sample ground away, the lid of many colours went round and round. This cosmic mill too broke down, bringing wholesale disorder. And if the finished Sample is a late and fanciful version of the mill, the linguists now recognise the Sample's connection with the older Skamba of Hindu ritual. In the Atharva Veda, the Skamba, meaning pole, appears as the golden embryo in the frame of creation, a mill-like edifice which poured forth the gold within the world, and the Vedic hymn equates the mill Skamba with the whole creation. The body of the Skamba houses the life elements and the gods. It is the Ancient One, or the Great Monster, whose veins are the four quarters of the world. That the cosmic mill is at once the universal monarch's body and the created paradise will immediately explain why, in the general tradition, the collapse of the great wheel coincides with the death of the god king and the sinking of the lost land into the waters of the abyss. Nothing so confuses the underlying theme as the habit, begun long ago, of conceiving the primordial wheel or island of earth in terrestrial terms. Could the landscape familiar to the ancients have produced the many interrelated images of the turning wheel? The great god sits enthroned within the celestial earth as in a one-wheeled chariot. Thus in Scandinavian rock art, these symbols are the universal sign of the world wheel. It may either appear alone or as a wheel of a celestial wagon. All ancient sun gods seem to own such a wheel or chariot. The one-wheeled chariot of the Hindu Surya clearly answers the same cosmic forms as the high-wheeled chariot of the Iranian Mithra. An early form was the famous sun wheel of the Babylonian Shamash.